Hi, this is Regina. Continuing on with science reasoning passages, let's look at two passages where two scientists disagree and both cite very good evidence to support their arguments. First, I want to show you how to read the passages and extract useful information, and then we will go ahead and try and answer these questions. So let's read the passage 1, scientist 1 together. It says here, it is an established principle, the rule of Darwinian fitness, that natural selection favors individuals who leave the largest number of viable and fertile offspring. It is also known that there is a genetic tendency, so I want to underline genetic tendency as I read it, that causes some women to produce more than one ovum at a time. These women will bear twins more often than other women. Since they have more offspring than other women, selection will favor them and frequency of twin birth will increase. This did not happen in the past because the conditions of life were so different. Now, a woman in a hunter-gatherer society had to spend much of her time collecting plant food while carrying her baby with her. She also had to be ready to run or otherwise protect herself from wild animals. Her chance of survival, avoiding both starvation and predation, was much worse if she was carrying two babies instead of only one. Thus, the genes that promote twinning carried an enormous liability. So he's talking about the genetic liability for promoting twin birth. Okay, thus the genes that promote twinning carried an enormous liability which more than offset the selective advantage of the twins. Under modern conditions, however, these negative features disappear, and a woman who bears twins is likely to leave off more offspring than one who does not. The frequency of gene that promotes the release of more than one ovum at a time will increase in the population. So what did this author do? First, he made an assumption. And he made an assumption that there is a genetic tendency that will causing the production of two ovum or more than one ovum. I just noticed something here. There's only the women in question. They have not considered the guys at all. More than one ovum. After that, he has made some kind of an observation. An observation is that something he expected did not happen, right? The results are not what he expected. He expected that there would be more twin births than single birth, but that didn't happen. And then he offers an explanation. And his explanation is that, well, in the old days, women in the hunter-gatherer society had a little bit of a hard time carrying two babies. She had to run and she had to also carry food, so it was much easier to do it with one baby. But he offers a solution. And his solution is that in modern society, the limitations are lifted. So what I've just done, and I urge you to do the same with the pencil when you read your passages, please jot down in the margin, much like I have done here. I'm going to go on to the next passage now. Scientist 2 says you cannot think of evolutionary change in terms of a single feature. He probably is referring to the production of the ovum. He says that there are many factors. There are many factors which interact. When many factors affect an outcome, it is necessary to consider how they interact to produce an optimum condition. Twins are often born prematurely, and their average birth weight is only 5.5 pounds. Single babies on average come into the world weighing 7.5 pounds. Premature birth and low birth weight results in many kinds of medical problems. Twins' prospects for survival to a normal, healthy reproductive age are less than those for singly born babies. An evolutionary tendency to overcome this deficiency would call for mothers to produce twins weighing in at about 7.5 pounds each. This would be an enormous strain on the mother since she would have to gain more weight during pregnancy. The only way to neutralize this liability would be for women to be much bigger, weighing more than 200 pounds. This would, however, introduce another liability, strains on the skeleton and musculature. Evolution would have to produce a complete redesign of the body. The gain in selective value produced by twinning would be far outweighed by these disadvantages. Modern civilization has not changed the fact that single births are optimum for women. Here's his conclusion. And he is saying single birth is better. And what he's saying is that if you have twins, your babies are 5.5 pounds and they have a low chance of surviving, low chance of surviving. He's saying that single birth babies are 7.5 pounds and they do survive. So his response to scientist 1 is that if the mothers are to produce twins and it's evolutionarily favorable, then the mothers, according to scientist 2, the mothers must be able to carry 2 7.5 babies. £7.5-pound babies, which would require large women. And he was saying that that's not very feasible. So here I have demonstrated an active reading skill. You notice that as I was reading, I was actually going through some of the passage layout and I was jotting down some of the arguments. And I stopped and paraphrased as I read. In other words, I actually translated their words into my own language. The final thing I did, which is very difficult to show, is that as I was reading, I was actually video clipping and imagining the scenarios. I was actually imagining the hunter-gatherer society here. I had vivid imagination of a woman carrying and running away from a tiger with 2 babies in her arms. And I really had a very vivid imagination of, I didn't mean to do this slide, very vivid imagination of a 200-pound woman. I read, I paraphrased, I jotted down the passage layout, and I video clipped. So in my next video, I will show you how we can answer some of the questions.